Okay, here we are on Father's Day weekend at the LA Roadster Show 2016. And my name's Ralph Whitworth. I'm here with my very good buddy, Don the Snake Prudhomme. And I probably don't have to say much more about who he is. We're here to talk about our favorite hot rod. And that's the Cobbs Roadster, which is right behind us. And you may be able to see in the view a poster of the car in 1948. So Tom Cobbs, when he got out of college, he bought a 1929 Model A body for $5, and then he bought a 34 frame for $5, and he put together a hot rod with a Mercury flathead. He did something very unusual. In fact, it was the first time it was done. He took a blower, a supercharger, off of a GMC bus, and it was a GMC 371 supercharger, and it's sitting right on top of the engine here, and that's the first GMC supercharger on a gasoline engine. And you can also maybe see that in some of the B-roll, or perhaps now, that this has an 8-barrel carburetor, so to speak. So he's got 4 Stromberg 48s there that he brazed together a base for, and that's how they aspirated this thing. So this was a very, very exotic engine that he experimented with, had lots of different variations, but essentially started out running this thing at El Mirage, doing the Rosetta runs and also SCTA, and then started street racing around LA, and that led to a big grudge that he and Vick Edlebrock had, and because of that they ended up in what is considered by many to be the first legal drag race in history, and that was a Sunday morning in April in 1949 at Goleta Airport, north of Los Angeles, up by Santa Barbara. And on an access road next to the airport, they had a drag race. And the car belonged to Fran Fernandez. Many of you know that name. And it was driven by a fellow by the name of Toll. And they had a drag race. It was a little more than a quarter mile. But in any event, Cobbs had a blown Mercury. And the Edlebrock car from the Edlebrock shop, they used a little nitro. But the story is that Cobbs smoked his tires, and he was gaining on them, but when they hit the culvert at the end of the track, the Fernandez car was ahead, and that won the race. Cobbs asked for 2 out of 3, and they said no. They loaded the car and left. And young Vick tells a great story about it. He was 12 years old at the time of the race. Then the other notable thing about the car is in 1951, it set the record for an open roadster at Bonneville, 156 point some odd miles per hour. And you can see it in pictures, even some Kodachrome color slides that were taken sitting in the winner's circle. A lot of people didn't think it was that attractive. But Cobbs didn't seem to mind because it was fast as heck. Now, the reason I've got Prudhomme here, besides the fact that he's famous as heck, is because I keep the car at his shop, and he and Willie Walter, who's been a close friend of his, a mechanic for years, helped me get the car back on the road. And he drives it and spends a lot of time with it, more time than I do, and once in a while I have him mention that I actually own it. But anyway, why don't you tell a little bit about the car, and then I'll go back and tell about how we got the thing running, and maybe a little about Dale.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, it's as Ralph's saying here, we keep it in the at our shop in Vista, along with some of my personal cars. I still have some collectible cars, and just got done putting together a 67 Top Fuel dragster with a Ford Camry in it that we ran back in the day and called the Shelby Super Snake. So we're excited about that car. But this car is, all in all, it's my most favorite car, the Cobbs car. The minute Ralph brought it in, I wasn't really hep to hot rods that much, to be honest with you. I spent most of my time drag racing, trying to go 300 miles an hour, not 30 miles an hour. So it's
Hey, 100.
100 on a good day, downhill. But yeah, so that was been most of my life. But really, this whole hot rod thing, the hot rod shop, custom stuff, they're out by us. They do work on the car, and so we're, I like this stuff, and we have more cars that are coming down the pike, and but Ralph's the guy that really got me into the hot rods. Before that, I wasn't much into them, but he got me into it. Now I'm kind of hooked.
Yeah, and he mentioned this Shelby Super Snake dragster that has the Camry engine in it that he's just finished. I mean, the thing it's like a watch, and it's going to be featured in, I think, the next issue of Rahdo's Journal, but coming up. So it'll probably be on the cover, so you'll see it. But it's Father's Day this weekend, so you can see my daughter's here with me, Ava, and my son, but he's a little bit shy. Just wave, Ava. Wave. You're on TV.
Douglas,
Go ahead, wave.
come here.
So, and then there's that's Douglas. That's his adopted grandpa. Don is. But
Father's Day weekend, man.
yeah, and in any event, I just wanted to say about the engine. So we goofed around with the engine, and in fact, we brought it here to the LA Roadster Show once just to drive around the swap meet, and we drove it up to Vick, Edlebrock, and the darn thing boiled over on us and spit out a bunch of antifreeze all over his display, and he said, "Yep, that's the car." So we had a little fun with it. So we decided we better take it to Dale Armstrong. And you guys know Dale Armstrong. He passed away last year. He was the best crew chief and mechanic and one of the best drivers in drag racing history. Anyway, this is one of the last engines he built. And he took the engine and he marveled at some of the work that Tom Cobbs had done back in the day as a young man. But he put the car together. This thing will idle at 700 RPM with those 4 Strombergs on there. Not a drop leaks out of them. This is probably the only flathead in the world that doesn't leak out of the rear seal. He built a custom seal for it because it just bothered him that something would leak. So anyway, our good friend and Dale Armstrong did the engine. But now, as Don mentioned, whenever this thing needs anything, we take it over and trust it in the care of Randy Clark and his group at Hot Rods and Custom Stuff, which is down in Escondido, California. There's Randy, and he's touched about every little corner of this car at one time or another because there's always something, and he keeps this thing in its preserved condition, just as you see it here. But anyway, I don't know if you want to say something, Randy, but
We'd just like to say thanks for the opportunity to help you with that great car. Don did a great job. We appreciate having it in our booth here today. Happy Father's Day.
hey, that's good of you. So let's see, who else can we promote? We did Rahdo's Journal. We did the LA Roadster Show. Hot Rod and Custom Stuff. If you're anywhere in this Southern California area, you ought to have some work done down there because they're just amazing. And you're always getting promoted, buddy.
I'm retired.
You got to.
When is he going to run that new car? No, it's fine.
When are you gonna? Oh, well, he started it up last week. Tell him just a bit about that Shelby Super Snake. So the partnership was Carol Shelby and Don Prudhomme. There's a couple of names. And this car is just unbelievable. Google that thing and just get a head start on it.
Yes, it took going on 3 years to build the car, as many of these hot rods do. And I'm not used to that sort of thing. I'm used to 4 seconds, and my work is done. But waiting 3 years was that I'm not the most patient guy in the world, but Ed Pink built the engine. And, it was just a long process. Ford Cameras are really hard to find parts for. And Don Long did the chassis and rebuilt the chassis. And Bill Carter did the paint job. But it's a beautiful car. It's all together. It's in the trailer at the shop as we speak. And we're headed to Bakersfield on Tuesday to do some burnouts with the car and do some shots for Rodder's Journal. So stay tuned for Rodder's Journal, man. It'll be on the cover. It's really a trick car.
All right, I think that's it. You have anything to
say
say,
anything?
Douglas?
You want to say hi to your girlfriend at home?
Hi.
There you go. Yeah, happy Father's
Thank you. Hey, we're happy to be part of this.